Okay, so this presentation is being recorded. I think you got to hit that button saying you're okay with that. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Murray Bollier, the Debt Buster, and I'm super excited to kick off our presentation tonight, Why Misunderstanding Debt Interest Destroys Our Financial Freedom. And I'm very excited about this topic. I feel like we have the cure for cancer here. And I want to also introduce the man, the myth, who's going to do most of the talking here tonight. And he's the one man in the world who's more passionate about this than I am, more passionate about getting people out of debt. He's been doing this for about 18 years, and he's got serious experience in multiple personal financial service roles. Welcome, Managing Executive Director Brian Nates from Indianapolis.
Thank you, Murray. Appreciate that.
Brian is he's extremely passionate about this, and he does a great job with the presentation. So I'm honored to have him here. And we're also honored to have everybody here who's taken some of their valuable time to participate in this with us. And if this doesn't move your needle, we didn't do a good job, because this is an unbelievable, life-changing program. And I want to start off real quick with a little bit of an intro from me, which will give some context for why I'm so passionate about it. So a little bit about me first. I was a 5-year Army veteran, and then I morphed into a 35-year corporate career as a financial controller for 3 different Fortune 500 companies. So we're talking billions of dollars of revenue and hundreds of millions of dollars of costs and expenses, which was my responsibility. On the P&L, I had to reduce the cost on the cost of goods sold line and improve the margins. And this is high-tech electronic manufacturing with the latest and greatest technology and the latest and greatest systems to keep track of costs and manufacturing processes, equipment, and so forth. And we had it's safe to say that my team, not just me, luckily had some very smart people working for me, but over the course of my career, we saved hundreds of millions of dollars on the P&L from the systems that we implemented. And I'm proud of that. But I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because it's ironic that when I took an early retirement 2 years ago at age 62, at that time, I found out that I didn't know how mortgage interest was calculated. And that was a massive kick in the gut. It was embarrassing. I felt sick. Here I am, a 35-year veteran financial executive, handling hundreds of millions of dollars, and I didn't know mortgage interest, okay? And I know that I'm not alone in that. And so when I looked at my personal finances when I retired, I had refinanced this house where I live in 3 times. I've been here 25 years, and now for the first time, I looked at my mortgage from a different perspective. I had previously looked at how can I get a lower payment so I can get more cash flow per month. And I know a lot of people refinance for that very reason. So I want to share my story here. So you want to make sure that you're looking at the whole picture. There's a lot of moving parts on a mortgage, and the payment is just one of them. And so now that I'm retired, I looked at it from a different angle, and I was horrified that I wasn't going to pay this off until I'm age 80. So I was just crushed. It was the low point of my professional career. And I lost sleep over it, and I was really too embarrassed to tell my wife. I am the financial guy, and I am responsible for the family's finances, and I friggin' dropped the ball. So fast forward, that's the backdrop. Fast forward to about 2 years ago, I met Brian and his partner, Mike, who's not unable to join us tonight. They showed me this program, which eliminates debt as fast as possible. Brian's going to talk more about it, but it uses banking algorithms that I was never conscious of. And we ran an analysis for me. And before I tell you the result of that analysis, I want to say that this is very important. If you know anything about the professional accounting world, there's a company called Ernst & Young, which is the 3rd largest accounting firm in the world. If you don't know who I'm talking about, they're like, it's like LeBron James or the Tom Brady of the world. Actually bigger than that, because those 2 guys are just pretty much the Americans. But anyway, They had been my auditors for over 30 years in my corporate job. And the nature of accountants is they're not going to approve anything or sign anything unless 98 accountants had checked the math. Well, Ernst & Young has awarded our company that created this program with the Entrepreneur of the Year award in 2008. That was a massive, massive credibility thing for me, because the nature of this company, Ernst & Young, they would not put their name on it unless 98 accountants had checked the math and the whole thing worked. So the one thing I want to emphasize to everybody on this call is this is not a fly-by-night thing. This is a proven system that's been, I won't say endorsed, but that given the blessing of Ernst & Young to achieve this award. It was almost like an Academy Award night. Seen the recording of it. It's pretty cool. The second thing I want to say is, before I hand it over to Brian, is like we do with everybody who wants to look at this program, we ran the numbers, and without changing my lifestyle, without changing my budget, or without changing my cash flow, using this program and the concepts and the math behind this program, I'm going to be able to save $110,000 in interest and 23 years off my debt. Now, I want you to think about that. $110,000 of interest, which I normally would be paying until I'm age 80. And this was like the biggest benefit of this is the stress has just gone away. I still owe money. I'm not out of debt, but I have a clear path to where I want to go. And I really feel like, I've said this before, but I really feel like we have the cure for cancer. And we want to share this program with as many people as possible. We want to share how it works. We want to share why you may not understand how debt interest is really calculated. And it really behooves you to know the math. Debt is great. Not all debt is bad, but it's a two-edged sword. And if you don't know what you're doing, it can cut you just as fast as it can help you out. So with that context, thank you for staying awake for that. I'm going to turn it over to Brian and let him work his magic. And I hope he can share his screen. Did we try that?
I can. We're good.
Okay. All right. So anyway, take it away, Brian.
Thank you. Really, thank you. So Brian Nates here. Yes, I've been in the financial service world for quite some time. Like Mary said, I don't need to bore you with the details there. In my professional career, this program has helped more of my clients than anything else that I've been able to do for them. And I'm going to go over a little bit of the math and the interest and just educate. That's what this is about tonight, right? On what this does and why and how interest really works. So many people just don't fully grasp it. And so hopefully I'll enlighten you tonight to just want to learn more. And that's the whole idea, right? For myself, I've been using this program for quite some time. That is accurate. And the way this system mathematically just makes a real tangible difference for people is mind-blowing. And it really makes a difference. It really helps solidify the path that you want to go on. And I'll get into that a little bit. So the idea of tonight is to kind of just go from a high level, talk through some of this for you all. And then I'm even going to do a demo of a platform that was developed as part of this whole program that helps you, almost like a GPS system in your car, helps you go down a path and get to your destination and always recalculating. This program does the same, but with your cash flow and finances, and mathematically keeps you perfectly on target to what your goals are. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we should be good. Yeah, perfect. All right. So let's talk about this. The idea of what this program is, it is known as the Money Max account. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the product a little bit. That's one of the reasons we're here tonight. But really, the main purpose is to just open up your eyes a little bit. Some of you may know this, some of you may not. Right. So let's talk through this. I want you to ask yourself this one question. If there really was a program in your life that could eliminate most of the interest, get you out of debt in as little as 5 to 7 years, without refinancing, without changing your budget, without changing your lifestyle, I mean, would you want to learn more about that? Right. And that's all we're saying. And of course, that little baby saying, heck yes, right? That's usually the answer, But I will say, there's two kinds of people that learn about this and get educated. The first is there's people that are clients of ours that, yeah, Brian, if we can eliminate debt faster and get rid of most of the interest, well, that's a good thing. I would love to be debt free. That would free up so much. That would change our life. That would change our legacy and our heirs. And there's the other kind of client that we help a lot. And that's investors or people that, there's good debt and there's bad debt, right? People say that sometimes. Okay. Well, even when that's the case, I promise you this, you don't want to pay any interest you don't have to. And if you could build equity quicker to use it to fund other things or to invest in other businesses or opportunities, like that's a good thing, right? So I want you to think through that a little bit, because what we've developed with this whole idea and program is a way to really be ahead and mathematically crush what you probably normally would try to do on your own. Okay, so let's talk through that a little bit. What is the Money Max account? It's clear. I already said it, but pay off all your debts in as little as 1/2 to 1/3 the time. No change to your budget. No, this is not a refinance. We don't do second jobs. It's not magic at all. It's just math. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with that, but we'll get through this together here. So I already talked. Mary already talked about this, but the credibility of the program itself is solid. It is so solid. Not just the Ernst & Young Award, but there's multiple publications, magazines, like industry magazines, Mortgage Planner, Personal Real Estate Investor, Broker Banker, which is a mortgage broker magazine, True Wealth. There's a lot of write-ups on this actual strategy, as well as the platform that we designed to help our clients, known as the Money Max account. Okay, so what do you need for the Money Max account itself? And I promise we're gonna get into some of the math, because that's part of the reason you're here tonight, is to learn some math about all this, okay? But just some frequently asked questions to get out of the way. What do you need to use this program? Checking and savings account, 15 minutes a month. We have coaching, steps, guidelines. Credit score doesn't matter, which is a lot of questions people ask quite a bunch, huh, Mary? And then what kind of debt can this eliminate, this type of strategy and program? Anything. Mortgages, student loans, credit cards, business debt, lines of credit, etc. Okay, so for a minute, just really think through this. If there was a real solution that could eliminate most of the interest in your life without changing your lifestyle, without changing your budget, when would you want to understand that and learn about that? I hope you're saying, well, I don't believe you, Brian, but now, if that's true, now, okay? So I'm going to show you what we have developed. John and Skylar, our founders that developed this program, put $20 million into researching and developing this whole system and strategy with the platform that is ridiculously good. I say it's like a GPS system in your car, but for your cash flow and your budget and your expenses and your future debts, because that's what it is. And I'm going to hopefully show that to you tonight. Okay. But what this is not, it's not a biweekly program. It's not a refinance. It's not an increase to your budget, right? All the things that you're probably thinking. It's not. But how can this really be? So let's get into the meat. Mortgage amortization. I love to have a little fun with this, and I want you to just think of something for a minute. The word mortgage. I'll say that again. Mortgage. Mort in Latin, right? Comes from, what does that mean? Death. Gage, if you break it down, means to take a pledge. So is a mortgage a pledge of death? Well, the loan schedule that you actually pay on a mortgage, a death pledge is an amortization schedule. Goodness, there's a lot of morts in these, huh? Amortization schedule is a loan schedule. It is designed intentionally. See, we are so conditioned, especially in America, for our Melbourne, Australia friend. They have what's known as the all-in-one loan, which, I'm sure you all in Australia understand what that is, the one account. But the way we are conditioned from the banking world, from the finance world, from the way people buy things, the banking system has us so hyper-focused. Why do horse races do so well? Because they get blinders put on them. And the only thing they are designed to do is run as fast as they can and look straight forward. And there's a great movie called Now You See Me. It's about a magicians. And what's so cool about that, if you understand what they say in this movie, when they say the greatest magic trick ever designed was what they had you so focused on what they're doing that you're not looking over here. And so I want you to understand that we are so conditioned, and this is a huge passion of mine. In my financial services career, I love just teaching and educating the truth. And by the way, when you sign your amortization loan schedule on those closing docs, why do you sign a truth in lending disclosure? Because they have to show you the truth. And you have to sign off acknowledging the truth. So let's think about that. We're conditioned by the banks to focus on what's my rate, what's my payment? What's my rate, what's my payment? So is a 3% loan really 3%? Well, let's break it down. From a financial perspective, let's break it down. This is your 30-year loan, 3%. And we always say, 3%, that's like free money, right? Oh, you got to do it. It's like free money. Well, let's think about it. That's your mortgage payment. Now, I'm not including taxes and insurance, right? But that's your principal and interest, your P&I. And $1,560 is going to the payment. Well, out of that payment, $925 goes to interest and $635 goes to principal. Now, some of you may be, I know, Brian. Yeah, I know. Well, then let's really think about this. Is that really 3%? Now, the truth is, it is a 3% loan amortized over 30 years. So what does that really mean? Well, the banking systems, they understand data. They have actuarials and analysts, and they know that the average American consumer is going to stay in this specific loan 5, 6, 7, 8 years, right? 5 to 7 years on average. Because what do? Well, they move, right? And they refinance. They move and refinance, typically within 5 to 7 years. So think about that, okay? If that's what their cycle, and yes, it is a 3% loan amortized over 30 years. If you stay in this exact loan for 30 years, at the end of the 30th year, when you've made all 360 payments, they're not lying to us. It is a 3% amortized loan. But it sure doesn't feel like 3%, does it? When 925 is going to interest. You see, in the Truth in Lending disclosure, feel free to look one up. If you have one, pull it out. They disclose this because what they're really looking at in their loans is what's called the tip. The tip for the bank is what I joke about it, okay? But the tip is total interest percentage. It's right there underneath the APR and their total payments, and it says tip, total interest percentage. Is the interest volume. So I want you to think through this for a minute. Over the course of 5 months, you're paying, a little bit less in interest and a little bit more in principal every month. And then I want you to think of something in any other realm. For everyone on the call tonight, if I was your financial advisor and I said, I have a great deal, I have something that we want to get your money into. All I need you to do is for the next 6 months, give me $1,560, and it totals $93.60. Oh, I forgot to mention that my fee for this investment is $55.26. Don't worry, I'll make sure the other $38.34 goes to the principal of your investment that you're making with me. In any other realm, would we do that? Would we accept that? Well, no. But yet we accept that with our debt repayment structure. It's not 3% until you're done with this loan. It's an amortized loan. So what does that really mean? Well, if you move or refinance in year 5, 6, 7, year 2, year 3, year 8, and you start that cycle of debt all over again, do you ever get to the part where it's 3% amortized? Because you're constantly paying all that front-loaded interest over and over and over and over. So when do you get to when it's 3% if you never get to the end? So understand that we're really not paying 3%. The tip is what the banking systems care about, and we should too. So how do you affect that? Well, mathematically speaking, there's only one way that you can pay less interest. And by the way, let me stop with that. I'm showing a mortgage because that affects a lot of people. Listen, this is true with car loans, student loans. I mean, credit cards have ridiculous interest, right? Make those minimum payments. They love that. But the only way to mathematically affect the amount of interest is somehow more money needs to be applied to the principal of that debt sooner. And a lot of people don't fully grasp that. So I'm gonna explain that in a minute. Okay. And I'm not gonna overwhelm you with that, but just realize you are paying way more interest. I mean, in year 19, you're at the halfway mark of the debt balance, but way past year 15, which is halfway of the loan, right? And then even after 30 years, you've paid almost $200,000 in interest on a $300,000 loan. 300 and whatever it was, 375, I think, right? That's not 3%. Now, in an amortized loan, yeah, it's amortized that way, but not the real interest. So wouldn't you want to change that? Even for those that are investors, and even for those that, like, wouldn't you want to build the equity quicker so you can leverage that again and again in a better way for yourself? I would think so, right? So we have created a better way. And just for clarification, this is a sample tip, if you want to call it that, or the truth in lending disclosure from a client of mine. When we went through it with them, and they said, I couldn't believe how right you were. They pulled it up and they sent it to me. This is the amount financed, $396. Look at that awesome APR, 2.659. But right under that is the tip, clear as day, 42.244%. The total amount of interest that you will pay over the loan term as a percentage of your loan amount. We just have our blinders on and we ignore that. I promise you, those that get educated on this can't help but recognize it and notice this anymore. They have to recognize it. And if anything tonight, at least recognize you are paying more interest than you thought you were. Okay. So what does our program do? It looks at everything. And when I say how do you get out of debt fast, formulas matter, timing matters, algorithms matter. What did we develop? We developed a system like a GPS in your car. We developed a system that looks at your checking account, your savings account, your credit cards, your lines of credit, cash accumulation accounts, for those that understand, like cash value life insurance policies. It looks at everything. And mathematically, like a GPS system in your car is constantly recalculating the path to your destination. This is constantly, with the cash flow that you already have, using the rules of the accounts you already have to eliminate interest, get you out of debt faster, keep you on that path and that track, and making sure every penny matters. You know, those that understand finance and the rule of 72 and how every penny matters and compounding interest matters, Well, compounding interest does matter on the debt side and on the interest earned side. And our system allows you to really hone in without having to think about it, and just keeps you on the path to perfect, the perfect mathematical path to your destination, which is debt freedom. So listen, I'm going to share with you an example, because the only way that people really understand is sometimes like by seeing it. So this is John and Rebecca Jones, okay, our sample client. Now, the question on the top of the screen is, is it smart to take out a 10% loan to pay off a 3% debt? Almost 90% of people, when you ask them that, they say, no, why would you ever do that? 10% is so much worse than 3%. The real answer to this question is, I don't know. I need more data. What kind of debt is that? How's the interest calculated? What does that mean for my cash flow? So many different variables. So this is a sample, John and Rebecca Jones. Let's say they make $6,000 a month, but they spend $59.50, okay? And they have mortgage debt and car loans, student loans, the average American. They're in debt with that same mortgage. And they're using this whole Money Max account, debt elimination, cash flow management program that we got developed. And they said, we're going to go ahead and use it. And today's date is what, the 24th, right? So it's looking at their whole picture holistically and understanding their income, their expenses. Do they get paid weekly, bi-weekly, once a month? Do they get quarterly bonuses, yearly, quarterly, IRS returns, all this stuff, all this busyness. And it systematically understands how it's all connected, like a GPS system in a car understands how every single turn is connected. And it says, you know what, John and Rebecca Jones? The way interest is calculated on different types of accounts is mathematically different. So is there a way to put you in a great place to eliminate the interest without affecting your cash flow and lifestyle? So let me say something here. 90% of our clients get started with us with a checking account and a savings account. Remember I mentioned in the beginning, all you need is a checking and savings. And what's going to happen is money's going to flow into their checking. They're going to pay the bills, right? Like normal. But there's going to be times when the system tells the client to just transfer a little money into savings or to another, what we'll call an offset account. It may be a savings, and it's going to build up some reserve, and it's going to use it the right way, and that's great. But if the client has other types of accounts that can take even better advantage of their flow and the way interest is mathematically calculated on other types of accounts, it's going to take advantage of that. It's brilliant. In this example, John and Rebecca Jones, let's just pretend, like I said, they spend $6,000 a month. They make $6,000 a month. They spend $59.50, but they have this little line of credit over here, or maybe it's a cash value life insurance contract for those that understand that. Okay, but it's just a little line of credit. And the system says, wait a second. On February 24th, because timing matters, their due dates matter, their cash flow matters. Wait a second. Why don't you go ahead, John and Rebecca Jones, today and borrow $31.99 from this 10% line of credit? And that's going to cost you $320 a year, which is only $26 a month, by the way. So if they kept that $3,200 on that line, it's going to be $26 a month in interest, right? But wait a second. The program at the right time said, you know what? The reason why I want you to borrow that $31.99 is go ahead and send it to the principal in that first month of the mortgage. You just gave $3,200 as an extra principal payment to your mortgage. Did your lifestyle change at all? No. Did your debt go up, which some of you are thinking? No. You moved a little piece of it, a little sliver of it, from one account to the other. Because mathematically, watch what happened. A lot of people don't fully understand this, and hopefully this will open up an aha moment. When you send principal to a mortgage, A lot of people understand that the time gets taken off the back end of that amortized loan. The time does. But the interest does come off the front end of that loan. It literally jumps you ahead in the schedule. The time comes off the back because now you have less months to pay. But the interest in the loan schedule, you just jumped ahead. So you literally skipped this month of interest, this month of interest, this month of interest, this month of interest, and this month of interest. So you just saved $4,600 of interest and taken 5 months of mortgage payments off the debt. Did you increase your debt? No. It just got moved a little. Now, some of you on this call, whoa, Brian, no. You just robbed Peter to pay Paul. Yes. No smoke and mirrors here. We robbed Peter to pay Paul because Peter charges us less interest. It's just the math behind it, nothing else. So when you look at this, fully understand, yes, there's some interest right here. Would you trade $26? Give it to me. Reach through the screen, everybody. To take $4,600 off your debt in interest today. I hope you say yes. And then someone here is, whoa. You still owe that debt. Yes, you owed it anyway. You owed it anyway. It's just mathematically better for you. It's about the timing and the flow. You can't do too much because you may hurt yourself. You can't do too little because it's not the most advantageous. Our algorithm literally understands the perfect mathematical solution to do something like this. Now, another person is thinking, wait. What if you never pay off that line of $31.99? Well, first of all, the system, that was a very strategic move to have this client. Our average client will be completely debt-free in 5 to 10 years. All debts, mortgage, interest, including this transfer right here. Everything. It's all part of the bigger equation. And someone's saying, no, but wait, what if you, okay, $26 of interest to cancel $4,600. There does come a point where it doesn't make sense. 14.75 years later, if you never paid off a penny of that, it equals $4,600 in interest. Feel free to do the math. $26 a month. You're going to be debt-free if you're the average client way before that ever happened. But remember that $31.99 was a strategic move that was part of the overall debt payment with their cash flow, their expenses, their future costs, their future expenses. It's a chess move when everyone else in the financial world is playing checkers. Okay, so I hope that enlightens you a little bit because that's just one example. But that you have to understand when it comes to interest, it has everything to do with how the interest is mathematically calculated, not just the rate and payment like we are so conditioned to look at. And I hope that at least lets you see that there's more to the interest game. So in our program, please just know there's options to what we call the offset account. In that example, I used the line of credit, right? That is a way, okay? There's some clients and most clients, some clients do the line of credit example. Some clients, most clients, I should say, start with just a savings account, okay? You literally, it's an easy way to get started, easy way to get going in the right direction. And then some of our clients do it with a whole much different way of actually building wealth and eliminating interest and canceling out interest simultaneously on the same flow with arbitrage and a way that you could do that with a specially designed cash value life product. But that is a different conversation, but there's so many different ways to do it. And our program, the software literally is agile to react to the accounts that you have set up. So in summary, just like a GPS, it constantly recalculates, taking every single aspect of your situation and always keeping you on path to eliminate as much interest as you possibly can, keep you on the path to where you want to go, and literally without changing your cash flow and lifestyle. Okay, so what I'm going to do really quick, I skipped that page because I'm going to, just for a few more minutes, from a high level, I'm going to share my other screen here, and I'm going to do a demo of the program. Just so you can get it. And I would encourage you to get a more detailed demo. I'll encourage you to really learn more, schedule time with Murray or others, and just understand more and see more, right? But know that all of our clients matter. Once you really take this on, you literally become part of the family. We have a mission. We have about 80,000 clients. Over 2 billion in debt has been eliminated already, and about almost 8 billion under management right now for more. And we're growing, and it's working. The real passion behind this is a debt-free America and beyond, because we will be going into other countries eventually as well. This works, and the system is proven. So best advice I can give you is get your analysis run. And I know Mary's going to have a way to learn more about that later. Okay, but get your analysis run, see what this program can do for you, and understand that we have a way that can really set you up for success on a proven mathematical machine for you. Okay, so that being said, I'll just do this quickly. I want to go ahead and show you the software a little bit. All of our clients do get the platform. That's part of it, right? You get coaching, support. We do the analysis with you. We make sure you understand some things. But this is just a high level understanding of the program. Now, please know this. Right here is the payoff date. That is always changing based on your cash flow, your expenses, your actions, right? That's the years to pay off. That's the interest savings. Like a GPS system, those numbers are always changing, right? This right here, it's called the action plan. Now understand, these are very specific things, like John to checking. All that means is that's his paycheck, okay? And you're gonna execute these things. And we even have a way to connect your accounts automatically, so it's all updated, automatically for you. So it's all imported from you use your credit card at the store. It will show up in your action plan automatically. That's really great technology to make it easy for you. But this is like a GPS system in a car. When you change it to Street View and you can see the steps, these are just the steps you're going to do to execute the actions to get out of debt faster, pay your bills, have your life, go out to eat, do what everything you do. This is just showing you the path and allowing you to understand the cause and the effect of those future decisions. But before you even have to make that decision, there is so much power in that, like a GPS system in a car. When you want to stop and get something to eat, you could pick a restaurant and it could say, well, that's going to add an hour to your drive. So maybe you won't go to that restaurant, right? Maybe you'll find something else. You can see the cause and effect of that decision before changing your destination. Same with this. When you see these little red squiggly lines, you notice how it says from checking to savings, right? These are specific and savings to MasterCard. And they're all throughout your steps. This is January, this is February, right? They're all throughout because these are just simple. It's telling you the path. And all you have to do is execute that path. And you let the system know that you executed it. I mean, it's really point and click. So let's pretend today's December the 2nd and I got paid. So I say, yep, that happened today. And yeah, that literally happened. Good to go, right? You're letting the action plan understand that you did that. And you notice it's no longer here. If you make this loan payment, you let it know. Make the mortgage payment, you let it know. And again, we do have ways that things are more automated by account, what's known as Account Connect. That's your action plan. And there's so many more things, but I'm not going to go into full detail. This is your accounts tab. Now, obviously, accounts mean your accounts, right? Checking account, savings account, investment accounts, asset accounts, your liabilities, right? All your debts. Now, this client has a car loan, a MasterCard, a student loan, or a signature loan, a mortgage, right? They're about $232,000 in debt, okay? They're going to be done with all of their debt in 11.9 years. Look at their budget. Again, let's just call them John and Rebecca Jones. Everybody likes to keep up with the Joneses, right? Well, the Joneses are getting debt free. Are you? So this is their income. $5,000. This is their expenses, almost $4,700. Are you kidding me? They make $5,000 a month, spend $4,700, and they're going to be debt free in less than half the time. What if they made more money? Probably, our average client is going to be debt free between 5 and 10 years, saving over $100,000 in interest. So, watch this. That's their budget. You can itemize, right? You can itemize if you want to, or you don't have to. You can just lump everything together. Some people, some of my clients, the envelope system or the way they like to itemize things. Some people like to itemize. Some people don't want to itemize at all and just say, yep, I spend $3,000 a month on everything. That's my expense budget. Great, right? So please know it's as agile or flexible as you want it to be. If you want to itemize, you can. If you don't have to. But this is where the magic for the client happens. I'm going to show you like 2 quick examples, and then we're good. But this is the best part. We have here John and Rebecca Jones. Now, an example here is John and Rebecca Jones. They're sick of COVID, and they want to go on vacation next Christmas. They want to plan for it. So they're going to go on vacation. And they're going to plan for trip to Greece, okay? And so they're going to hit add new action, and literally they're going to let the system know that they're planning ahead. And this is the real value of the system. So letting you know, you know what, we're going to use our MasterCard. I'm just going to say trip to Greece, and they priced it all out. And yeah, with everything they want to do, it's 10 grand, okay? And they're not doing it now. They're planning for this. This is the best value of what we develop. It is awesome, okay? It really cares about mathematics of how interest works and how it will affect you by the decisions you make. So in December, for a week, we're going to go to Greece. You can even select a category, hit travel bucket, and it's there. Before I hit execute on this to put it into our action plan, I want you to realize the debt payoff time was 11.9 years, right? 11.9 years, move this over, 11.9. Interest savings was 143. Look at the checking to savings, 362, and savings, please remember this. It says MasterCard of 1,073. So I'm planning ahead in December. Let's hit save. Wow. It went from 11.9 to 13.6. Interest saved went from 143 to 107. Let's look at their action plan. It said on 12/15 savings to MasterCard before. It reallocated and recalculated the path to figure out the fastest mathematical solution to the goals that they have with the debts that they have and the accounts that they have based on something happening in the future. That was 1,073 before. Now it's a totally different debt and 489. And I'm showing this to people that say, oh, well, I can get out of debt on my own. You can. You absolutely can. No secret. Send more money to principal and you'll be out of debt faster. But why wouldn't you want to use a GPS when you're trying to use a map? Right? With a map, a bridge goes down, and what do? There's a bad accident. What do? I mean, I got my Waze app on my phone, and it tells me when there's a cop that wants to pull me over, I slow down because he's not going to get me. Right? If there's a bridge out, my Waze app recalculates. My GPS on my iPhone recalculates. This is your GPS for your life, for your cash flow, for your finances. What happened down here in December? Well, let me show you something before I do that. I clicked on what's called true cost because you can see the true cost of your actions where it says in December 4th, that MasterCard trip to Greece is $10,000. That's what we think, right? We put it on the MasterCard. It's 10 grand. We can afford the payment. We'll get out of that debt, soon. Well, the true cost is $36,000 because there's interest on that card. There's other debts you can't pay off now because of that. It extended your payoff time 13.6 years. No, maybe the trip to Greece is not a good idea. Or maybe it's worth it to you. Maybe it's your 25-year wedding anniversary and it's worth 2 years. But isn't it nice to know that you can make that decision based on the math and not just, yeah, I can afford the payment and we'll get out of that. The credit card's not too bad. No, look how it affected everything. And that matters to a mathematical algorithm. So that's one example. And I'm going to show one more example because we may have some investors on the line. And by the way, we have a much more detailed demonstration and demo that I would encourage you to watch. We recorded it. Okay. Another example is for those, maybe there's some investors online. You ever wanted to plan and forecast and understand how rentals may affect you or future decisions and future properties? And I mean, the investors that use this, and Murray knows he has a lot of investor clients, it is game changing for their decisions on when they're going to plan and forecast their next move and their next property and making the right choice on rental decisions and things like that. So easy example, and I'll just show it once, and you can plan this out 20, 30, 40 years in advance, 45, 40 properties in advance. Some of our clients have 40, 50 properties on this platform. Watch this. John and Rebecca Jones, remember, they hardly have any leftover money. And they say, we want to go ahead and get into, we want to buy a rental property. We found a great deal. We want to go ahead and do it. And let's even say, instead of a great deal, they want to plan ahead. They want us to do it for the summer. And they're going to find a rental property around a certain dollar range. And they want to see if it makes sense for them and what it will do to affect them. So I'm going to click on accounts. And I'm going to add a new account. And I'm going to click mortgage. Okay. Let's just say rental prop 1. And who cares who it's with, right? It's a bank, right? And remember, this is something in the future. So I don't know, $300,000 home, right? And it's a rental, so let's say 5%. Of course, it's a 30-year note. And remember, they haven't bought this yet. This is something they're planning. That's the fully amortized payment. And by the way, the $300,000 loan, so let's say the house was like $350 or something, they put some money down. Okay, I'm just doing hypotheticals here. And so the mortgage is $1,610, but let's say escrow is $400. I'm making all this up here. But so that means it's $2010.46. Now remember, they haven't bought this house yet. So let's make the first payment that they're trying to see if it makes sense for them, their next move for their wealth building. And they're going to buy it in May or whatever. The first payment is July. And that means their first statement comes in June. And hit save. Okay. Do you see how it turns red? And instead of saying times to pay off, it says times to exceed. That's their payoff date now. I mean, not payoff date. That's the date they'll have no money left. In 14 months, it even says insufficient funds now. Your expenses are going to exceed your available funds by $1,735.24. Only $1,655.52 available in all your other accounts. It tells you that even if you have credit cards or whatever, you're going to have no money left. It tries to pull from it to keep you going. And this is a forecasting machine. To John and Rebecca Jones, it tells them, hey, if you buy that property in May and that first mortgage payment is in July, 14 months from today, you're out of money. Now, Rebecca is more reasonable than John. John's freaking out. We can't do this. And Rebecca says, honey, we forgot to add that there's going to be income from this house, right? We're going to have a renter in there. That's the whole point of this. Maybe it's an Airbnb, who knows what. So he goes, oh, yeah. But let's pretend we don't find a renter. We're going to add income and just put rental, right? And for those that like to, have an accountant and stuff, you can even categorize it out. This is rental income. And, maybe it's for a $300,000 house. I mean, yeah, probably $2,500 makes sense. Today's market, rents have gone up. It's not happening today, though. Let's say they're just going to pretend that they can't find a renter until September 1st. That's fair. And that's what they're planning for. Awesome. So now 15 years, 15 years, 2 homes free and clear. Their other debts, which was the car loan, the student loan thing, the signature loan, the credit card, 15 years, saving almost $300,000 in interest. And I'm going to do something really fast because I do have like 2 more minutes. So what if John Rebecca Jones say, you know what? If that's one rental property, what if we got a second one? Just maybe a year later, right? Because now they're leveraging, they're realizing that they can do some good things for themselves. Same exact house, okay? And they're planning ahead. They're planning ahead. So what was that? 2010.46, 400 escrow. And I know someone's saying, oh, that's kind of low for escrow. Depends on where you live and all that, right? But they're planning ahead. So in 2023, July, and you know what? Let's be more realistic. Maybe they wait 2 years for that. So in 2024, right? Because they've saved up some more money for the down payment, maybe, or something. And now they have another rental property. Okay. And we hit save. Now I'm doing that on purpose. We're planning ahead. And it even says, hey, again, you'll have some time, but on May 1st, 2026, so 2 years, 4.2 years from today, but 2 years from the time you get that rental property, you need to find a renter. And of course, they put it in the forecast for themselves. And this is the real value of what we developed, okay? The educating and teaching how interest really works is awesome. And I have a lot of passion for that. But the real value of what our company has developed is this tool and the coaching you get with it to really make a big, big difference in your future. So 2/24/22, I said that was 2024. So again, maybe they don't find a renter till September of that year, being very conservative. And now they have 3 homes, free and clear, all the other debts in 16.9 years. If that doesn't get you excited, because there's somebody on this call, like you're an investor, and maybe you believe that there's good debt versus bad debt, and I get that. But 3 homes free and clear in less than about half the time that one home can be paid off. And if you don't want to pay off these properties, okay, build equity super quick and leverage that equity to buy another rental property, and then another rental property, and then another rental property. Build wealth. One of my clients has 25 properties, saving $4 million in interest with this program, having all 25 properties paid off if he wanted to in 11 years. He decided he actually bought 2 more properties, and now it's like 14. That's a game changer for wealth building. And if you have a investment firm, game changing for management and forecasting. And I hope that impressed you like it did me. It's made a big difference for my clients, for my life. I myself have used this program for a very long time, and it helps me make the right decisions based on how it's going to affect us mathematically. I mean, look at that, $400,000 in interest savings. That's real. I hope that was helpful. And Murray, I know that you have
awesome, Brian. Yes, very awesome. Thank you. We're going to take some questions here in a minute. I put in the chat if you want to learn more. Okay. I want you to go to that website. I'm going to show you what that's going to look like real quick, and then we'll take some questions. So I'm going to share my my screen briefly. So I know that there's some people who want to learn more. If you don't, hopefully you learned something out of this. Okay. But really our goal was to teach you just the scratching the surface of how interest really works, and how the odds are stacked against you, and how we're trying to level the playing field for everybody, because this is not something they teach in school. So go to this website. you're going to click learn, enter your email and learn more, explore the content. And if you really want to get into this, which I highly recommend, we can run a free debt elimination analysis for you. The site looks like this. I just want to walk you through this real quick. Don't worry, it's the same software. This is my branding, Debt to Wealth. It's the same company. You can watch this video here and some testimonials, which are very powerful. But you really enter your information here, click Learn More, and you're going to go to this page. And this is a lot of great stuff here. If you are a junkie on this and really want to learn some of the nuts and bolts, there's a great download here. I'd encourage you to watch this video. And there's a more detailed demo right here. That, in fact, Brian is the guy who teaches the demo for the whole company because he's that good at it. And when you're ready to schedule a call, use this link right here to book a call with me. Pick a day that works for you, and let's talk about it. I mean, there's no obligation. And what if we could save you, 20 years on your debt? And it's a game changer. And if nothing else, the elimination of stress is incredible. It's been massive for me. I'm still in debt. Brian's used it a couple times. Brian, tell us about your current home real quick. And
Sure. I've used it throughout the years and paid off much debt with it. My brand new property that I became a mortgage holder again in January of 2020. Beautiful home here in Indiana, Zionsville area. My backyard is a cornfield. Always wanted to have that. I feel like I'm in the field of dreams. But brand new house. First mortgage payment was January of 2020. I will be debt free in 3 more years, saving over $200,000 in interest. I've been debt free before. It's an amazing feeling. The only reason I bought this home was because I was able to forecast it and plan it out before I made the decision to do it because of this program. I've helped thousands of clients throughout the years. That's not a facade. I really have. And it is a life-changing thing. If you use this the right way, it just becomes your guide, your tool. And it comes with coaching and support, and it's a no-brainer. But the most important thing is I hope we taught and educated on how interest really works tonight.
so with that, we had some great questions. Deborah asked how, I know, Kathy, do you remember the question?
Mary, while you're doing that, can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
I'll encourage you all. Mary put his link in the chat again. Click on it. Just request more info from him. He can do a free analysis for you. Even if, there's also, some of you may want to learn more about bringing this to your clients and bringing it to others. I mean, we have a way that you can get rewarded for that, and so there's that part of this. If you think like, wow, I would want others to know about this. We could talk through that, right? We have like agent opportunities. That's not what tonight's about at all. But I encourage you to click on the link, ask Mary to run an analysis for you or for one of your clients. Just learn more. There's no pressure at all, but get that analysis done. Or if you need to see more or learn more and get a more detailed demo, I'll give that call to action to you. There's nothing wrong with learning more.
And real quick, a quick story. I mean, there's a lot of stories like this, but there's a story of a guy who was using this program for a year. I'm going to get the number a little off, but the principle said, and he was able to go from 30 years to 12 years to pay off all his debt. And he was ecstatic that he was going to save 18 years. And after using it for a year, he noticed he just got smarter with his decisions, right? Because he's more cognizant and he sees the immediate feedback. I like to click my fingers like Brian. I'm trained like Brian. That's effective. He saw the immediate impact, and he noticed he wasn't using his Verizon minutes. Okay, and every penny matters. And so he got with his family and said, "Hey, we can go down to the next lower plan and save $20 a month. Are you okay with that?" And it didn't change anybody's lifestyle at all. They weren't even using those minutes. And so he put that in without before he actually called Verizon, he put the number in, just like Brian was showing, the forecasting capability. He adjusted his phone bill by $20 a month. And I'm going to say it saved him like 9 months of debt. just a $20 a month
That's
change. And Brian has a story about a coffee maker, which is incredible. We'll save that to the end. But the bottom line is, it shows you the cause and effect in advance, and you become better informed to make decisions. And that's because it's like having 100 accountants in your back office. It's run on banking algorithms. The same thing. Banks are great at making money from money, and we're putting the power of banks in your hands. This is the same things banks do. So I could talk for more, but I want to get some of these questions in. So who wants to? We can unmute anyone who has a question, or Kathy can read them off. Kathy, Deborah had a question. Do you remember? Actually, Deborah, you're still here. Do you remember your question? I think I allowed you to talk. I don't want to embarrass you if you don't want to.
Yeah, no, can you hear me? Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I asked how banks could, I can't go live. I can just see my picture.
That's okay.
Okay.
Maybe I have a setting wrong in that. Okay, yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
we can still hear you.
That's all right. So my first question was, how can a bank call a loan a 3% interest loan? Even if they're talking about annually 3%, it still doesn't work out to 3%. It's more like 60% a year or something like that. So how on earth can it be called that? That was one question.
Great question. Because like what you just said, it is 3%. They're not lying. It's the way the interest is calculated. It's an amortized loan, right? So it's set up intentionally that if you stay in that loan for 30 years, it's not a lie. It's a 3% loan.
If you look
at what stage does it become a 3% loan? Because it looks like
at 300 at month 360.
Well,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a lie.
It's misleading.
Well, if you stay in that exact loan for 30 years, like the loan is designed.
No, but overall, the total loan that you would have paid, let's say on the $360,000 loan, you're paying close to $200,000 by the end of the loan.
Correct.
In no maths that I'm familiar with, does that amount to 3%?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So that's one thing. Yeah.
If you look at the formula, which is very complicated, okay, and that's why we don't show the formula, because it's not a straight line calculation. That I made that mistake. That was part of my story at the beginning. If you caught it, it's not a straight line calculation like you would think. It's a complicated formula called an amortized loan, like Brian was saying, and it doesn't make any sense to the average person. How they get away with it is, I'm going to say it. Brian may be too polite, but I think it's very misleading, and people just don't know it. So, and for the same reason you asked the question, how can they get away with that? Well, I've heard, like Brian said, I've heard people say this is like free money. No, it's not, pal. You got to look at the math, right?
Hey,
go ahead. You have another question.
Hey, Mary.
Oh, there it is, right there. Yeah, everybody got that? Make a note of that, everybody. That'll be on your quiz tomorrow.
I wish I could understand that formula. It's been too long.
That is the mathematical formula for an amortization loan. Periodic payment amount of principal, net of initial payments, periodic interest rate, total number of payments. I mean, there you go. That's how they do it.
And they,
Actually, I'm going to use that as an ad. That's a brilliant ad. Anyway.
So my other question to you was, you said that you're only in America at the moment, but the program looks like something that anybody could use in any country, and I'm wondering why it's at this stage of the game just an American or US based program.
Yeah, it's just a matter of growth.
Okay.
I gotta be careful what I say. More to come.
But if somebody overseas wanted, not in America, wanted to purchase the program from you, is there an issue with that?
Yes, it has to be. Well, we need an American address to purchase.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right.
I think it has to do with some. Not every country has the same banking rules. So there's like little tweaks that
okay.
it will throw it off a little bit, just enough.
But more to come on that.
More to come. Yep.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I'm actually not in debt at all, very happily, but I
Amen.
am, I'm 63, so I guess it's time not to be in debt. We did have a small property that we sold recently, and maybe made a mistake in that, because other than the mortgage payments that were really covered by the tenant, we had a lot of other, because it was an apartment, so that we have something here called a levy payment, for the body corporate that runs the apartment and looks after the maintenance, and that's pretty steep here. And then we also have to pay rates and taxes on it, and we also have to pay a part of the water bill on it. And so before we could turn around, it was an extra $5,000 a year just on that. And I just thought, I don't know, I stopped working as a teacher 2 years ago. So anyway, I'm not going to take up all your time, but it's one of those things where there are lots of details to take in, particularly if you're buying an apartment and not a freestanding property. Yeah.
Very
Yep.
good.
Yeah, you could have put if you, assuming this would have worked in Australia, you could throw numbers into the thing and
Yeah.
like and
what it
come
looks
up,
like.
and you could do a lot of what if scenarios.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Let's see. Kathy, did you want to say something, or did I cut you off? No. Okay, Susan. I think Susan had her hand raised. No.
No.
There we go.
No.
Susan. No.
Oh, sorry.
You're just waving
Sorry.
hi. How you doing, Susan?
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
Anybody
Sorry
else?
about that.
That's all right. Anybody else? It's got to have some questions here. We just talked too much, maybe.
I'll jump in, Murray. There was one question that does the payment, extra principal payment, get automatically applied to the principal, or is there a special, does it not automatically get placed there? When you make an extra additional
I'm going to
payment
defer that
on
to
the
Brian.
mortgage.
Yeah, Brian is a mortgage expert, so I'm going to.
Yeah, sure. You typically, I'll say, you have to let them know this is an extra principal payment and must be applied to the principal balance, because if not, they'll just hold it for the next payment, and they'll just apply it as a payment for the next month. You have to let them know it's a principal payment. Now, you have to be current on your mortgage in most cases to even do that. Meaning, if you haven't made your payment in 2 months and you send in money and say, please apply this to principal, they're going to say, well, no, you owe us a payment, right? Even this month, it's March 2nd and you haven't made March's payment yet. They're going to say you can't apply it to principal till you made your mortgage payment for the month. But once you've done that, which, if you're making your normal mortgage payments, you've done that, then when you send it in, you say, please apply this to the principal.
I think that was
Thank you,
from
Brian,
Heidi.
and thank you, Erica, for asking that.
Oh, Erica. Okay. Yeah. Anybody else? Thank you, Kathy. Anybody else? So I'm going to put that link in the chat again.
Yep.
All right. And if you click on it right now, it'll take you to another window. It won't close this window. So you can kind of look at it. Just put your email in there, and there's some pretty cool stuff on there. More education. We went, this was over an hour. We respect your time, but there's a lot more we could have told you about. And there's some more information there. There's actually a little tool that can estimate a very rough payoff calculator for you. That can, if you put in your numbers, it'll give you a rough idea of what we can do. But I recommend we do a free analysis for you to see what we can do. There's no obligation. I mean, if you could, I can't tell you. Here's the best test. This is what I wanted to say. The best testimonial I've heard. I haven't been doing this as long as Brian, and Brian probably has a good one too. But it's a woman my age said, I think she's a single mom, single grandmom, and she said, Murray, the thing I like about this program is I don't have to think about debt anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she's still in debt, but she has a plan now. She has a GPS. And you could just see, it was a Zoom call, and you could physically see. That's why I like Zoom. People, because when you can see somebody's face eye to eye, you know, and you can just see the stress has melted off her from the first time I talked to her. She says, you know, I don't have, because when you think about when it's dwelling on you, when it's on your mind, it's holding you back from what you could be thinking about, you know, and the fear of uncertainty. We're selling certainty here. We have a certain path to the future. And it's not just getting rid of debt now, it's for the rest of your life. This is not, you know, you got to think about, you know, you're going to probably buy another car, or you might buy another house or whatever. And you can put in the numbers in advance and see what that does for you. And I've learned, I'm a finance guy, much older than Brian. And I've learned a lot from just using this program, because you can see kind of like the inner workings of what you didn't know before. You know, we all know every type of debt calculates interest differently. This is something I didn't know as a 35-year finance guy. And everybody knows credit cards have funky debt. And the interest rate on credit cards is designed, if you make the minimum payment every month, you'll never pay it off. It's designed to keep you in debt. There's one good thing about credit card math, is that if you pay everything off, if you pay the whole bill, people know this mostly, but some people might not. If you pay it off, everything you owe on the credit card within 30 days, you basically got 30 days free money.
Yeah.
And so that is one way to take advantage of the math in your favor. So this program is doing a lot of those type of things that a bank normally does, arbitrage and strategic payoff and offset accounts. You know, a bank doesn't pay you anything for your checking account. Whatever you have in your checking account, you're getting 0 interest, right? I'm going to guess. But they're turning around and loaning that out to 10 different people, getting, you know, 5, 10, 19% interest on whatever they're, you know, whether it's a mortgage or a credit card. And yet they're not paying anything for the use of that money. And in the US anyway, I don't know about Australia, but they can do it 10 times. It's called fractional reserve banking. And they're making money off your money. Well, we're turning the tide on the banks. You know, good for them, but they're not so good for us, you know? And so, and they don't teach this, you know, in school. I had a conversation, Brian, you don't know this, but I had a conversation with a client, and I have to look this up, so maybe I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. That the #1 contributor to the National Educational Association, NEA, Susan might know the NEA. The #1 contributor in donations are banks. What a coincidence. What a coincidence.
If that is true, like you said, you need to look that up. If that is true, that is what a coincidence, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, anybody else? This is a Thursday night. You guys are up late, at least if you're on the East Coast. If you're in Australia, you're having lunch, I guess, huh? Or,
Yes.
okay. Anyway, thank you very much for attending. Everyone gets a copy of the replay if we did everything right. We'll send you a couple other goodies, but check out that link, learn as much as you can. Whether you get the program or not, you need to know how interest works and how, you know, interest is good. I mean, debt can be good or bad, but whatever you want to do, you don't want to pay more interest than you need, you know? And so don't let debt control you. And that's the message here. All right. Anybody else?
Stop the
Close.
recording.
Okay, stop the recording. There we go.